in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
It's the final countdown. Do-do-do-do-do. 6 days till the Iowa caucus and the full-fledged establishment panic. The establishment meltdown is occurring in front of our eyes, and it is a beautiful sight, if I've ever seen one. Welcome. Status Coup in the House. It is Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. Again, 6 days before the Iowa caucus. And let me tell you something. It's kind of hard these days to prepare for a live stream because, like, literally, it's not even like every hour there's a new story or meltdown. It's like literally every 10 minutes I'm seeing on Twitter new meltdowns, new attacks on Bernie Sanders that, like, all day, all I'm doing is screen grabbing, getting this video clip, getting that video clip. I can't keep up. I just can't keep up. It's crazy. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to have a good show. We got 205 people watching already. I need every one of you right now. Press that like button right under the video. The more people that press the thumbs up button right under the live stream, the more people that will see the live stream. We got 210 people watching. 89 of you have pressed that like button. I need another 100 or so of you. Smash that like button. Smash it into smithereens. Smash it. Like it's the Democratic Party establishment telling you to eat your broccoli and vote for Joe Biden. Smash it. Like it's the Democratic Party establishment telling you cannot have nice things. Smash it. Like it's Donald Trump trying to dangle foreign aid over your head. Smash it, smash it, smash it. We'll skip the text list right now. Follow us at Status Coup on the Twitter. We're live right there. We're live there right now. Follow us on Twitch. We are live there as well, twitch.tv/Status Coup. And join our email list. Go to statuscoup.com. Enter your email, if you could be so kind. And real quick, I just want to let you know, I don't want to waste time on this. Status Coup, we have something called momentum. Right before I went live, we passed 68,000 subscribers on YouTube, or shall I say FuTube. We would be probably at 200,000 subscribers if YouTube wasn't hiding us in a cave. But you already know what YouTube is doing to us. But we did just pass 68,000 subscribers. Yesterday, we got a whole lot of new members. We're now at 858 Status Coup members. We would like to get that number up today to 875. So it's a big stretch, but I think we could do it. And remember, folks, tonight, and I'm going to remind you over and over, tonight we got our members call. So in less than 3 hours, we have our monthly members call. That's with Jen, myself. Join us right now, and you will get a video link to get into that members call. For our existing members, you should have already gotten the link. If you don't see the link, email us at info@statuscoup.com. That's info@statuscoup.com if you don't see the video link. Anyone who signs up as a member for as low as $5 a month will get the link to join our members call tonight. I think it's going to be a big crowd tonight. It's not through YouTube. It's through Zoom. It is a video call, but you don't have to be on video, so you could just mute your video and just listen without us seeing you, if you're more comfortable that way. And I will also add, listen, we take on the corporate media here, but let's take a bow. The status coup featured in the New York Times today. Status coup featured in The Hill today. A couple other outlets picked up our Nina Turner interview. So, we are here to counter the corporate echo chamber, but not a bad thing when you're getting mentioned, when your interviews are getting picked up by the evil empires like the New York Times and others. It shows they start to know your name and pay attention. So we're excited about that. And lastly, this is a super chat. Keep it coming in the super chat. Tara May, $2. $2 for singing that rockin' 80s song. Appreciate it. Old Gringo, $3. Appreciate it. All right. So, I thought, where do you want to start? Where do you want to start with the establishment meltdown? Do you want to start with dishonest attacks? Do you want to start with the ludicrous attacks? Do you want to start with just people, becoming more and more unstable on the air? Seth Peterson, $90. Seth Peterson, thank you so much. Very generous. Looking forward to seeing your reporting in Iowa. Love the New York Times article about the Nina Turner interview. Status quo is at the forefront of what is happening across the country, and I know it will pay off. We need you now more than ever. Seth, we need you now more than ever. Thank you so much for your continued support. Check your email, by the way. I emailed you this morning. Thank you, Seth. That's very, very generous. So I'm going to start with an old friend of mine, Chris Matthews. Let's take a look at what Chris Matthews thinks about the Bernie Sanders surge in Iowa, New Hampshire, and elsewhere.
I don't think so, but I don't know. Pennsylvania, that Youngstown, Ohio voter, that Scranton, Pennsylvania voter. Does Bernie relate to those voters in a way that, say, other Democrats in the field may not? I don't think so, but I don't know. I mean, I think people who are desperate to get rid of Trump will reach for any life raft thrown at them. I don't know. I'll just say I don't know about that one. I think they'd respond to Biden with a good running mate. I think they might go for some of the other candidates. My latest question is this one. It's sort of like the question pollsters ask. Who cares about people like you? And my question is a little more direct than that. Suppose you're lying on a road hurt. Maybe you've had something happen to you. You fainted, whatever happened. Which of the candidates would stop their car and get out and help you? Which of them? Ask yourself that question, and you got your candidate, I think. Because I'm not sure about all of them. I've been polling this sort of, I think Biden wins that one pretty easily. I think Elizabeth maybe. I don't think Bernie wins it. Do you? Honestly? Think Bernie would stop and help you? I'm not sure. Well, I know these are tough questions. They cut to the gut, but they are the question you got to ask about. Will this person help me when I need them? Because the rest is BS. It's all speech writing. Okay, so I'll say, I think Bernie would help me. You're covering yourself. Joe, you're covering yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you. But I do understand.
So we've now entered the part of the program where Chris Matthews, who makes I'm not positive, I think $6 million a year, yet he's in touch with Scranton, Pennsylvania, makes $6 million a year. He's in touch with the guys and gals who wear the hard hats in Scranton. 400 people watching right now, by the way. 223 of you have pressed that like button. Press the thumbs up button right under the live stream. Makes a big difference. We need more than 200 more of you to press that like button. So they're going to... The case against Bernie now on MSNBC is I don't think he would stop if my car broke down. Who's going to stop for me if my car breaks down? Joe Biden. Mayor Pete. They're going to stop for me. Bernie, I don't know. Is he going to stop for me? He's only, stopped on the side of the road for the Nissan workers, the Disney workers, the Amazon workers, the Walmart workers, to name a few. But I don't know. I don't know if he's going to connect in Scranton. I just don't know if he's going to stop on the side of the road for me. What's amazing, and Jen and I were texting about this earlier, it's a weird thing because in most professions, not all, you actually have to, you don't fail up, right? You don't like get rewarded for being an idiot. You don't get rewarded for not having any knowledge in your area. You don't get rewarded for stupidity, ineffectiveness. But in this particular industry, the corporate media, which, as I told you yesterday, corporate media is really just a super PAC for the oligarchy. That's what it is. In corporate media, when you make comments like that, you fail up. He's going to get probably more money next year from MSNBC. So, of course, that is fact-free. And, I tweeted about it earlier, but it's amazing to me because there's two types of deception, okay? There's the deception that's intentional. There's the deception that's intentional from these corporate media people. And what that means is they know exactly what the polls say. They know exactly what Bernie Sanders' strengths and weaknesses are, but they don't accurately depict it. So that's the deception. The other kind is just really what permeates the media, and I think Jen has seen this on the road too. The other kind is just the complete stupidity of these people that get paid so much money. So let me break it down for Chris Matthews. Just the data, okay? Bernie Sanders in 2016 lost Iowa, by less than a point, 1/10 of a point. Iowa's a pretty red state. Okay. Bernie Sanders won Indiana, pretty red state. Okay. Bernie Sanders won Oklahoma, pretty red state. Bernie Sanders won Montana. He won North Dakota. He won Idaho. Okay. Bernie Sanders almost won Kentucky, lost by a point. Missouri, lost by a point. And he did win Kansas. So when all of these people, oh, by the way, he won Michigan and Wisconsin, which right now are red states. So when all of these people say Bernie Sanders can't connect with moderates, conservatives, or centrist voters, they're either knowingly lying, because all you have to do is Google it, like I did today, and see how many moderate to red states he actually won. I actually think he won the Iowa caucus, so put that in your pipe and smoke it. 500 people watching right now. 314 of you press that like button. Thank you. He also won West Virginia. So can he connect in Scranton? Yeah, he's connecting in all these other places. Bernie Sanders is attractive to independents. That's why he outperformed Hillary Clinton in 2016 in open primaries. So either they're lying to their audience and they know all this, but they say otherwise, or even worse, they get paid millions of dollars to know politics backwards and forwards, and they don't know this information. Both are terrible. You're either deceptively, intentionally lying, or you're a fucking idiot. Demonetized. Hit me in the swear jar. But, and I'm going to do a story on this, I don't know when, because we're so busy, on just Bernie Sanders, the actual track record. In Vermont, time and time again, when he's won re-election, he has won moderate rural areas. In New York, he won every single county in New York State other than New York City. He won upstate New York, which is more red and rural. He tends to do very well in rural areas. So MSNBC doesn't know what they're talking about. As another explanation, here's Chuck Todd, another multimillionaire who either is intentionally lying or just doesn't know anything.
But the track record, the half century of the modern Democratic Party presidential nominating process, the candidate who goes 2-0, winning Iowa, winning New Hampshire, it's happened 4 times, and they're 4 for 4 at then winning the nomination. So take that for what it's worth, too.
Steve, one thing about New Hampshire, it's an open primary. Those independent voters, if there is a Stop Bernie effort, it may begin with those New Hampshire independent voters. Anyway, it's going to be a wild February, I have a feeling.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, my God, I just can't. I can't. I haven't drank any alcohol today, but I feel drunk. I can bet. On this stupidity. ID Gringo, $2 in the super chat. Swear jar, thank you. Bahamat, $2. It's weird, but Joe has been fair to Bernie lately. Oh, we'll get to that. We already thanked our buddy Seth Peterson. Thank you for the $90. Keep it coming in the super chat. So Chuck Todd, the moderator of Meet the Press. Bernie Sanders won New Hampshire by 22 points in 2016. The Stop Bernie movement is going to succeed in New Hampshire because of independent voters? He won New Hampshire by 22 points. This is what I'm talking about. Do these people, are they just sociopaths who knowingly lie for millions of dollars a year? Or do they just not know anything? Some of them I know it's the former. They're just lying. Some of them I'm not sure. What are you talking about? That, independence, so, it might not be good for him. He won open primary states. This is, I don't know. This is Fox News level at this point. Sure, it's not as racist, but it's as propagandish. It's straight up lies. Matty Perry, $1.99. I've seen the desperate snake Warren has become. Oh, well, Warren is sliding very far, but don't call her a snake, or the Washington Post, the New York Times, or all of them will write up, long 7,000-word stories on Snowflake Mountain, because they really, they don't want to cover the issues. They want to cover how mean you are, Matty Perry. So it just defies, it really, really defies logic. One of my favorites, and this is what I mean, like literally, it's not even every hour I have to check for new stories. It's every 10 minutes. This was one of my favorites today. Nick Confessori, a totally elitist, out-of-touch reporter for the New York Times, he says there is no such thing as a Democratic establishment. As evidence, I present to you Sam Stein and some other people, their story from the Daily Beast. And he puts a link into a story about how the Democratic establishment basically doesn't know what to do to stop Bernie Sanders. The establishment here is an unknown number of semi-disorganized donors and operatives who think Sanders would be a bad nominee and are probably having a lot of worried phone calls, but can't think of anything to do. And also know that anything they try wouldn't work. Yes, that is really, really strong mental, deductive reasoning. There is no such thing as the Democratic Party establishment because the Wall Street financiers, the fossil fuckers, Big Pharma, Silicon Valley, big real estate, and all of them, they just haven't figured out a way to stop this out-of-control Jewish socialist. That means there's no establishment. It's truly unbelievable. Seth Iser, $5 in the super chat. There is a moonshine joke here if you need alcohol, as I'm from West Virginia. But corporate has let us down for years now. Keep up the fight. We will. And speaking of, we got 630 people watching. If you don't know, I'm headed to Iowa. I am headed to Iowa. I will be there in a few days, and I will be there for days before the Iowa caucus. And we will be there live for days before the Iowa caucus. And, of course, the night of the caucus. So buckle up. And by the way, if you want to know when we're live, if you want to know what we're doing, do not depend on YouTube to notify you when we're live. I would actually depend on them not to notify you. So what you can do to make sure you see us when we're live, right now, make it a priority. Text 474747 and then type in COUP. That will get you immediately added on to our text list. It doesn't cost you anything. We will not text you morning, noon, and night. We generally send maybe, 3 or 4 texts a week. It's to tell you when we're live because YouTube is not notifying people. You could also should sign up on our email list at statuscoup.com. So 2 things. Join our text list. Again, text 474747. Type in Coup, that's COUP, and then you will get on our text list. So let's keep going because this is a lot of fun. Then you have the old establishment guard. You have Let's start with Dave Weigel, my friend. Actually, you know what? Before that, I want to explain to you why they're panicking. If you haven't seen the latest, here we go. You got another New Hampshire poll just out today. Bernie up, commanding lead. I'm terrible at math, but I believe that would be 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. That's 15 points. Bernie Sanders up in New Hampshire. ARG poll. Even worse for Joe Biden and the rest of the corporate establishment. In this poll, Bernie, as usual, in a commanding lead among young people, but he's also winning 45 and older. Generally, he's not winning among the older group. Even though a lot of our viewers and a lot of progressives are older nationwide, most older people traditionally have been more corporate Democrat establishment voters. Well, in New Hampshire, at least, that's turning around. But don't listen to me. Don't listen to the numbers. Listen to Chuck Todd tell you, well, Bernie's going to have trouble in New Hampshire where he won by 22 points last time. Fucking idiot. Welcome, new Status Coup member, Davior. Welcome to the media revolution. 859 Status Coup members. And if you came late, all new members signing up today. We got our members call tonight. So sign up as a member for as low as $5 a month. You'll get the video link to our members call at 7:30 Eastern time. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, you will get a link through Zoom to join basically a chat room with myself, with Jen, and last time we had 50 people, I think, members, and we basically talk for an hour or two, and we take questions, comments, concerns, ideas. I give you a little TMI. Jen gives you a little TMI. Talk about a lot of things that we generally don't talk about on the daily live stream. So sign up, statuscoup.com/join. We got our call now in less than 2.5 hours. So they're freaking out. Bernie commanding lead in New Hampshire. This is like the fourth New Hampshire poll that he has a big lead. California just came out with a new poll from Berkeley. You got Bernie up by 6 over Warren. Biden, the most electable, is down at 15. That's UC Berkeley. Bernie leading Warren by 6 and Biden by 11. And Mayor CIA all the way down there. And, billionaire Mike at 6%. So then you have... And that Bernie's commanding lead in California, probably why his campaign is now going out with a $2.5 million ad campaign in California as well as Texas. The first advertising the campaign has done in the Super Tuesday states. So then you look at Super Tuesday. This is from Morning Consult. This is an average of all the Super Tuesday states. Biden up by 4 over Bernie. That is probably right. It's either in the margin of error or 1 point outside of the margin of error. That is if you're Bernie Sanders and you're only 4 points down on average in 12 states that vote, I believe, March 1st or 2nd, woo, that's very, very good. Then you have Morning Consult's national poll. This continues a trend of other national polls we're seeing where Biden's lead over Bernie is shrinking. Biden 29, Bernie 23. Warren continues her slide down at 14. Bloomberg over Mayor CIA there at 12%. And Quinnipiac, to me, of all the national polls I looked at today, this one stands out the most to me because Quinnipiac has been the most unforgiving to Bernie Sanders. Quinnipiac tends to oversample older voters and undersample younger voters, and that's why you've seen Bernie perform the worst in these polls. I will be honest with you, I haven't had time to actually dig into this poll in particular, but the fact that Bernie's down just 5 nationally in Quinnipiac, which again has been one of his poorer performing polls, is a very good sign. Then you look at Joe Biden, very worried. The good news, Jordan, this is an email he's sending out to people. The latest poll from CBS News shows the race in Iowa virtually tied, with Senator Bernie Sanders leading us by 1 point. That's within the margin of error. You got to love that the campaign finds like one Iowa poll when there's 4 others showing him nowhere near first, but I digress. The bad news, with just 6 days to go, Bernie's campaign is prepared to outspend us in a big way. Last quarter, they outraised us by a lot. Of course, this is dishonest because, as Bernie Sanders' campaign emailed out supporters, this morning we learned that an outside spending group placed $700,000 worth of negative ads in Iowa attacking Bernie. We also learned that Biden's super PAC has placed more than $1 million worth of ads in Iowa this week alone. So Joe Biden is sending out these desperate emails saying we need money. Bernie's outspending us, but he's got one group dropping $700,000 for him in Iowa this week, and he's got a super PAC, middle class Joe, dropping over $1 million. So if anything, Bernie Sanders' campaign is being outspent, and now we're seeing that third way, that Wall Street funded group of vultures is now will be distributing a memo to Iowa Democrats highlighting the potential liabilities Sanders could face against Trump that haven't really been discussed. That's just who I want to hear about in terms of electoral victory. The folks that totally love not paying taxes, the folks that totally love deregulation, the folks that have massive amounts of investments in fossil fuel companies, pharmaceutical companies. That's who I want to get a memo from on Bernie Sanders' weaknesses. I mean, it's too ridiculous to even take seriously, but don't think for a second, just because Bernie Sanders raised a lot of money, $34 million. Thank you for the super chat. Timothy Sapienza, $1.99. Bernie inspires a belief in change unlike the others. I agree. Don't think that Bernie Sanders' campaign is just rolling in it. They are under attack. You got Biden Super PAC. You got this other group, I think it's called Israel Majority, that's dropping $700,000 against Bernie. Now you have Third Way sending out memos. God knows how much money they're going to put into it too. So Bernie's up. He's up against it. So really what you have here is an establishment meltdown. You also have Biden trying to scare the living hell out of people. This is Biden telling people, where is it? Former Vice President Joe Biden, without naming him, on the multi-trillion-dollar jabbed Bernie Sanders, without naming him, on the multi-trillion-dollar cost of his most ambitious proposals, such as single-payer health care, tuition-free college, and sweeping climate action. Quote, I don't think you win votes doing that, Biden said Monday in Cedar Falls. I think it scares the living devil out of people. Well, that's a Freudian slip, because that is Joe Biden's campaign strategy, and that is Third Way's campaign strategy. That is the corporate media's campaign strategy. You got everybody from the New Yorkers, Jonathan Chait, sending out, red alarm, blinking red lights, warning, warning. It's to scare the living hell out of people. It's also when Joe Biden says, I don't think that gets votes. Well, the polls just don't agree with you, since the polls are very popular for Medicare for All, are very popular for a Green New Deal, are very popular for all these things that you say are a liability. So again, this goes into the bucket. You either have a bucket in terms of people intentionally lying. They know that what they are claiming is not popular is popular, or the other bucket of just wildly out of touch idiots who don't know anything. In my view, there's more people lying than wildly out of touch idiots. However, let's get to the wildly out of touch idiots. We have and you have Mayor Pete was lobbing some bombs too. Here's Dave Weigel of the Washington Post. The thing about 2016 is that Clinton was about to win, but the FBI launched a probe into Uma Abedin's laptop because Anthony Weiner could not stop sexting young girls. Easier to just pretend this didn't happen than to apply it to electoral analysis. So, to tell you the truth, of all the establishment gas bags, Dave Weigel is not high on my list. I think sometimes he writes decent stories, but this is just not in line with facts at all. These people that keep saying Hillary Clinton was going to win, it's that Comey stopped her. And I don't want to say that Comey had no effect. I mean, when the FBI director says, we're still investigating you a week before, that's not a good thing. But the problem is, Dave Weigel, who makes a lot more money than I do, by the way, 800 people watching, 524 of you have pressed the like button. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. The more people that press the thumbs up button, the more people that will see this live stream. Keep smashing that like button. It will help us get the audience up, and keep signing up as a member. We're at 859 Status Coup members right now. We're also about to show you our new promo video in a little bit. We just got done with a new promo video showcasing our reporting so far on the campaign trail. So what's amazing to me is there's no facts that support this. There's no facts that support that the reason Hillary Clinton lost Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania or Ohio is because of James Comey. If Dave Weigel or any of these people actually read the exit polls in those states, which I have multiple times, they would see that the top issue in the Rust Belt was not James Comey. It was not Russia. It was not even the Clinton Foundation or any of that stuff. It was trade. Trade was the number one issue, followed by immigration. So let me hear. You got Hillary Clinton pushing TPP, pretending she wasn't for TPP, but everybody knew she was for TPP. You have Bill Clinton, obviously, the Democratic Party, pushed NAFTA, which decimated these communities in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and other states. You have essentially Donald Trump. He's a phony, but at least he's been consistent on one thing, that's being against these trade deals. What do you think is most important to these people whose plants are closed down, whose storefront after storefront in these Rust Belt communities, many of you know what I'm talking about, are boarded up and closed down? I've seen them. I've gone through these parts of the countries multiple times. So, again, this falls into the bucket. Dave Weigel, to me, some people might disagree, doesn't appear to me as somebody who's just intentionally lying. So this falls into that bucket of just people who make way more than they should and don't know anything. The out-of-touchness of most corporate reporters. And then you have people who, he responded, this guy from another outlet, because I wrote back to Dave, there's no facts that support that. And he said, setting aside all the postmortems that have reached precisely that conclusion, polling at the time showed half of undecided less likely to vote for her after. Like, maybe they didn't vote for her after because she didn't go to their state in Wisconsin. She pulled her volunteers out of Michigan. They didn't even go on radio in black communities until a week before the election. I mean, this is not rocket science. But these people live in delusion. Then you have Dave Weigel defending Jonathan Chait, who wrote a fact-free piece for The New Yorker. And Jonathan Chait, by the way, if you don't know, this is from John Graziano on Twitter, the same Jonathan Chait who swore that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and swore that Trump would never win Michigan. These people are the ones we should listen to about Bernie's electoral success chances. So he shows that everyone will dunk on Jonathan Chait for this Bernie is a risky nominee piece, but he is right about this. The progressives who tried to prove that they could flip red seats in 2018 got rinsed, and they point to numbers from the midterm elections. So that is particularly what I want to get into right now. But I want to read some super chats first because I want to give shout outs to our peeps here. So Robbie Asher, $24.99. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. What gives me an extra boost of hope is the probability that these recent polls don't even include the surge of younger voters that seem like they could definitely turn out to vote. I've been saying for about 6 months that I think there's a hidden Bernie vote because a lot of these new voters, particularly younger voters, do not get called by pollsters. So I couldn't agree with you more. Lawrence Johnson, $10 in the super chat. Liberty, egalite, fraternite. All right. I don't know if I pronounced it right, but thank you for the $10. Always appreciate your support. Stephen Scott, $3.99. Great job today. Appreciate it. Timothy Sapienza, $1.99. Bernie inspires a belief in change unlike the others. Couldn't agree more. So I tweeted about this, but I also want to explain to you why these folks are in bad faith. This argument is in bad faith. And this falls into the bucket of political journalists who do know better and just lie otherwise. Thank you, Robert Como, $20. Please talk more about how Sanders is outspoken against our one-sided relationship with Israel. He'll be attacked by fake journalists like Jennifer Rubin and other AIPAC shills. People need to know what's really going on there. I have spoken about that. I think Bernie's clear that he thinks Israel has a right to exist, but he doesn't think Israel has a right to, crap on Palestinian human rights. And that's a very risky position to take, but it's also a popular position, particularly among younger people. So I think he's going to maintain that position. I don't think it hurts him at all, to be honest with you. So the midterm elections using the midterm elections as a measuring stick for the presidential election based on history and data is literally the definition of apples to oranges. So every one of these people, like Jonathan Chait, pointing out that more progressive candidates didn't win in certain districts around the country, really, it has no bearing on a presidential election for many, many different reasons. Number one reason is it is not even comparable, the voter turnout in a presidential election compared to a midterm election, particularly the fact that you get, I don't have the exact number, but a significant more number of younger people that come out in a presidential election. Secondly, presidential election voters versus midterm elections, there is a whole additional bracket of demographic groups that come out. You have a whole lot more people in presidential elections coming out that are new voters that don't tend to vote in a midterm election, might not even know when their midterm elections are. You have a whole lot more black people that come out, brown people. You have a whole lot more millennials that come out, like I just said. So when they're talking about the midterms, this is what succeeded for the Democrats, so that means Bernie wouldn't win. It just doesn't make sense. It also is based on the candidate, right? Bernie has performed well in rural districts, in conservative districts. There is data that supports this in Vermont. And he performed well in rural and conservative and moderate districts in 2016. If you missed earlier, I went through the list. He won Oklahoma. He won Idaho. He won Montana. He won North Dakota. He won Indiana. He came very close to winning. He won Kansas. He almost won Missouri and Kentucky. So it's just, again, it's just intellectually dishonest. Secondly, when it comes to a midterm election versus a presidential election, midterm election, you're talking about winning a district. The presidential elections, you're talking about winning a state. Those are two radically different things for demographics, voter turnout, the whole nine. So a perfect example would be the state of Florida, for example. Tim Canova, for example, has had a difficult time beating Debbie Wasserman Schultz. He ran against her 2 times. Yes, there were shenanigans that went on, but let's just use that as an example, right? So a progressive had a more difficult time winning in a older, affluent district, which is Debbie Wasserman Schultz's district. You with me? Okay, so statewide, though, Andrew Gillum, when he won the actual primary to run for governor of the state of Florida, running on Medicare for All and other bold progressive proposals. So a progressive candidate had difficulty in a district, you with me? Like Debbie Wasserman Schultz's district, but statewide, Andrew Gillum won the primary by running on Medicare for All. He lost, not by a lot actually, the governor's race in the general election. Why? He sprinted to the center because most of these progressive candidates listen to the Wall Street Democratic Party lifer consultants telling them, no, it's fine. You ran in the primary. Now you got to move to the center. He sprinted away from Medicare for All. He started doing photo ops with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a hated figure among progressives. He started doing fundraisers with Hillary Clinton, another not so loved figure, and he lost. So this is the difference between competing in districts and competing statewide. If Andrew Gillum would have ran on the very policies that helped him become the nominee. By the way, Florida particularly has a lot of universities. Florida is like California. It's very, very large. There's a lot of young people that eligible to vote in the state of Florida. He probably would have become the governor, but he sprinted away from it and he lost. So this is the point. They knowingly make these apples and oranges comparisons. So that's one thing. Then you have Jonathan Chait of The New Yorker. By the way, we got 900 people watching right now. 675 of you have pressed the like button. I need another 200 people. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. The more people that press the thumbs up button under the live stream, we'll get it over 1,000. Welcome, new Status Coup member. Sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name. Bagamshi. Bagamshi. Welcome, new Status Coup member. 860 members. I want to get to 875 members before the call tonight. That means 15 of you that are watching right now, you can become a Status Coup member for as low as $5 a month. Every new member that signs up will get a video link to our members call tonight. Our members call is a whole lot different than the daily YouTube show. We do a lot more question and answer, TMI, tell you a little bit more on the business end. Sign up, statuscoup.com/join. So Jonathan Chait, again, told us there was weapons of mass destructions. Again, told us Trump will never be the nominee. Trump will never win Michigan. And, you know, we shouldn't only go after these people who write the story. I don't mean go after. I don't mean physically. I mean, we shouldn't only verbally call out these people. We should call out their editors, because their editors let them write this drivel that is totally fact-free, and they get away with it. So Jonathan Chait, let me find it, writes a big piece for the New Yorker, and his central thesis, and this is how manufacturing consent works, so I'm going to explain how manufacturing consent works, borrowing from the legendary Noam Chomsky. Here was his central thesis, Jonathan Chait. Sanders has gleefully discarded the party's conventional wisdom that it has to pick and choose where to push public opinion leftward, adopting a comprehensive left-wing agenda, some of which is popular and some of which is decidedly not. Positions in the latter category, including replacing all private health insurance with a government plan, banning fracking, letting prisoners vote, decriminalizing the border, giving free health care to undocumented immigrants, and eliminating ICE. I am only listing Sanders' positions that are intensely unpopular. I am not including positions like national rent control and phasing out all nuclear energy that I consider ill-advised. So this is why I bring the editors into this, and the editors, because their name is not under the story, they generally escape scrutiny. But it is an editor's job to make sure what's being put in a story is factual. Literally what Jonathan Chait did here, and that this is what manufacturing consent is about, is he literally just borrowed from negative polling language. So how you phrase things in polls tends to determine the results you're going to get. So he took a phrasing that has tended to produce less support for Medicare for all, in this case, replacing all private health insurance with a government plan. When it's phrased like that, support for Medicare for all tends to be lower. When it's phrased in terms like expanding health care, eliminating copays, deductibles, blah, 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 it's wildly popular. So all he did there was just take the phrasing that tends to produce lower numbers and call Medicare for all wildly unpopular. This is the job of a good ethical editor, to then go look through the polls that show some polls, Medicare for all, popular among 70% of Americans, 80% of Democrats, 50% of Republicans. Medicare for all, the preponderance of polls have shown 50 to 70% support for the last year and a half. So he's lying there. Then he goes through a laundry list of policies saying that they're wildly unpopular. Some of them are. He's right about that. Some of them are. But these policies, if you look through poll after poll after poll, are not the priorities of the American people. Most of these policies that he's listing are wildly unpopular that make Bernie Sanders risky, are not high on the list of things people care about. If you look, poll after poll after poll shows you got Medicare for all and health care polling incredibly high of people prioritizing. You have climate change polling very high. The economy, education, not ICE, not banning fracking, which, by the way, does not poll so poorly. I don't know what he's talking about. So again, this is what they do to lie and manufacture consent. And pieces like that are then just passed around like a doobie on Twitter by the David Weigels of the world, by all the rest of the corporate media, And then CNN, the New York Times, and these other outlets, particularly cable news outlets, pick up these tweets, these narratives, and then they push them 24/7. And then the actual people that progressives are trying to reach to actually give them the right information, they are exposed to this misinformation all day long. That's manufacturing consent in a nutshell. And I am going to manufacture excitement for a second because we just got a couple new members. Woohoo! Welcome new Status Coup member, Jamie. Welcome new Status Coup member, Luna. So we are now at, I believe, Jen, what number are we at? I think 861? 861 or 862? I don't even know. Jen, check me on that, how many members we're at. But keep it coming. Statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. Join us on the members call tonight, 7:30 Eastern. If you have, by the way, if you're a member and you haven't gotten the video link yet, email us, info@statuscoup.com. If you haven't gotten the video link, you should have. So all of this that I'm showing you brings us to what I think is really the next act in the establishment meltdown. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Morning Joe.
What's so fascinating about the fact that Biden and Bernie are both on the right, Steve Ratner is, that looking through the lens of the Bloomberg campaign, you have, with these two gentlemen, whoever wins, you have two completely different results with, I think, a pretty significant impact for Michael Bloomberg's viability moving forward. If Joe Biden wins, it's obviously bad news for Michael Bloomberg because Biden will, certainly that win will carry him through to South Carolina and most likely into Super Tuesday. A Bernie Sanders win, though, in Iowa, even by a point, justifies in Michael Bloomberg's mind and in the people that would support Michael Bloomberg exactly what he's doing right now. So Iowa, it's interesting, Iowa could have a significant impact not just on the candidates who win, but the candidate with billions of dollars who is standing on the sidelines right now.
Oh, there's no question about that, Joe. I agree with that completely. And I think to a different degree, depending a little bit on what happens in Iowa, the same could be said about New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. But certainly in Iowa, the two things that you mentioned I'll highlight are true. One, the more that Bernie Sanders rises, the more, and I see this very much now happening already among my activist Democratic friends, the more people are getting scared about a Bernie Sanders candidacy for two reasons. First, because they think he'll lose, and second, they think if he wins, he'll implement the kinds of policies that I outlined a few minutes ago, which are so far away from the center of the Democratic Party. So there's a lot of activity around trying to, quote, stop Bernie, although it isn't called by that just yet. And that's and Mike Bloomberg could well play a role in that as an alternative to Bernie Sanders. But as you also point out, for that to happen, Biden has to, in effect, not do as well as people expect, whether it's second, third, or fourth. Biden has to weaken in the course of these first four early primaries. If Biden wins Iowa and then New Hampshire, let's say, and he's obviously strong in Nevada, strong in South Carolina, it may well be game over. If he does poorly in Iowa, and I think as John Heilman indicated, you have to look at these polls as so far within the margin of error as really to be a four-way tie. Maybe there's a little bit of momentum here and there. But Iowa's very unpredictable, and I think among those four, almost anything can happen. And if something on the lower side, third, fourth, happens for Biden, that raises Mike Bloomberg as the possible alternative to Bernie Sanders, and that's exactly the calculus.
Well, we should actually note here that Steve Ratner is Michael Bloomberg's money man. And despite that fact, and despite the fact that Willie and I are friends with him, we have tried to get some of that money. Willie and I have for years now. Hasn't given us a nickel. But that doesn't mean we're not going to keep trying. So Casey Hunt.
I don't know what part. I just don't know what part of that is better. And by the way, we got 900 people watching right now. 800 of you have pressed that like button. Can I get another 100 of you Smash that like button. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. It will get us to 1,000 viewers if you press that like button. Keep it coming. And keep the new member signups coming. That's really exciting. We need to keep on keeping on. We're now 2 hours till our monthly members call at 7:30 Eastern time. Can't wait. And I'm about to premiere the latest Status Coup promo video for our campaign coverage. So you guys are going to see it first right here. So first of all, when Joe Scarborough says, oh, by the way, like at the end, like maybe you should disclose this up front. When he says, oh, just so you know, this is Michael Bloomberg's money man, let me be a little bit more specific what that means. Steve Ratner is the chairman and CEO of Willett Advisors, which invests former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg's personal and philanthropic assets. So I don't know. I didn't go to journalism school. I took 2 classes. But maybe the private equity manager for Michael Bloomberg's money should not be on national television in the morning telling us Bernie Sanders' chances of winning the presidency. Is that just a thought? Just a thought? The person, that it would be like, I don't know. I don't even know what the analogy would be. It would be like me, the CEO of Status Coup, being at a event for investors and talking about upcoming, like, really good buys. You should really invest in these stocks or these companies, and pushing that, you should really invest in Status Coup. And then, like, underneath my breath being like, yeah, I happen to work there. It's astounding that they have this guy on. By the way, Google it. Steve Ratner, and I think it was the SEC fined him. He got a big fine from some shady business. But I digress. I don't want to miss any super chats. Keep them coming. Thank you. Corte Yayo, $5. From Flint to Standing Rock to DC to your studio. Keep doing great work. There ain't many out there doing anything credible. Thank you. It's not just me. It's Jen. It's me. It's Colin. It's Marcus. It's a whole lot of people. Status Coup is a big. I don't want to say big tent, but we are growing thanks to you guys, and we have not forgot about Flint, so don't worry about that. Chris Garrett, can't wait for Status Coup to get back in the field in Iowa. Thank you, Chris. Franklin Jimenez, $5. Bernie is bad on guns. His moderate position attracts independents and Republicans. Zaid shared video on Joe Biden telling a voter to vote for someone else. I got that queued up. We're going to get into that. Andy P, $10. Great insights, Jordan. This is why I'm so proud to be a Status Coup member. Happy to have you. Thank you. Florida Fly Fishing, $2. Bernie helped Gillum in the primary, not in the general. Yeah, he didn't help him in the general because he started sprinting away from Medicare for All. Jess S, $5. USF, go Bulls. I went to University of Tampa, so I was close to USF. Bernard, Biden nice to Bernie? Well, they say you have to get behind the man in order to stab him in the back. We'll get to Biden. He's up next. So what's amazing about this, I don't know what part I love about this more. Michael Bloomberg's money man on national television explaining why Bernie Sanders can't win, or when he said my Democratic activist friends, like his friends are like activists at Standing Rock or Ferguson or Black Lives Matter. His Democratic activist friends. Let me explain who his friends are that are Democratic activists. Third Way, the Wall Street funded vulture organization, hedge funders, Wall Street bankers, big pharmaceutical executives, fossil fuckers, Silicon Valley. That is who Steve Ratner's friends are. He has supported every single corporate Democratic candidate since the dawn of time. So that's what he means when he says, my Democrat activist friends. Thank you, Colt Fighter, $20 in the super chat. Appreciate it. So I think the Bloomberg thing is real here, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Joe Biden's in real trouble. I really do. And the reason I say that isn't because of data. The reason I say, well, the data is showing he's in trouble too. The reason I say that is because of things like this.
okay?
Just because we're finding it.
You believe that Bernie can do something and by
I'm going to support you if you win the nominations. We got to get rid of
Remy?
Trump. But what are we going to do about climate change? Now, you say you're against pipelines, but then you want to replace these gas lines. That's not going to work. We got to stop building and replacing pipelines.
You got to go vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much, sir. And we're going to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to vote you in the general if you treat me
Yeah,
right.
I know. Well, I'm not.
Well, can I have a
Look,
picture?
you're asking a picture of me. You're coming up and telling me you don't support me.
No.
My plan. Yeah, you did. You said you
I said I would support you in the
in
general.
the general. I'm looking
Right.
for a primary.
We're happy to
and a
get a number.
caucus.
We can follow up.
That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Just because
Now,
we're finding it.
You believe that Bernie can do something and by 2030?
I'm actually supporting Trump's tire.
Thompson, well, that's good. He's the guy that did
Thanks
more
so much,
coal
sir. We
mines.
have a long line right here.
Long line. More coal than the entire country did.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Happy to get
You got the right
Can we
guy.
get a picture?
Oh, man. Sorry about that, if you haven't heard it. So, let's get to a few things here. First of all, why does Joe Biden feel that he has to touch everyone? Like, I'm not trying to be funny here, but he just is like touching this guy's jacket, his shirt. He's very, very up in his grill. It's just very, very weird. It's very, very strange. I mean, we all have seen, his issues with personal space with young children. But, part of politics, a big part of politics is not just your policies, but it's the visuals. It's optically, what does this look like? And Joe Biden's campaign really does look like it's like a record from 1980. And that's not going to win in this new, sorry to borrow from my friends, it's not going to win in this new woke age where young people are wising up, where a lot of older voters are starting to wisen up to them being screwed. And Joe Biden also, it doesn't seem that he understands you have to actually convince people to vote for you. Whenever people question him on the campaign trail and grill his record, there is a entitlement in his response. Go vote for Trump then. Yeah, go vote for somebody else. This is not how, and I can only imagine what his advisors, his campaign manager, his donors, what they are, their facial expressions when they see this. This is not how you convince people to vote for you. And I think he thinks, and it's a very Hillary Clinton mindset, it's my turn. I earned this. I put in the time. I've been in there. I've been in the swamp for 40 years. Who are these fuckers coming up to me and questioning me? So, I mean, I've already gone through all the polls, but, I mean, right now, Real Clear Politics, the average in Iowa, Bernie is in the lead in the average in Iowa. Right now in New Hampshire, Bernie is in the lead in the average of the polls. But putting aside the polls, a lot of politics comes down to not just polling, but it comes down to, are people inspired by you? A lot of people were inspired by Donald Trump's bullshit. A lot of people were not inspired by Hillary Clinton's, like, stronger together, love beats Trump's hate, So I just think, particularly in Iowa, which involves people coming out, not just to vote, but to, like, be there for 2-3 hours, I really don't think Joe Biden's going to, I think is going to possibly come in third or fourth. Welcome, new Status Coup member Lane. Woo! Join the Status Coup Media Revolution. We are now at, let me get the count. We are now at 864. 864 Status Coup members. We want to get to 875 before our members call, which is at 7:30 Eastern time tonight. I'm bringing my gluten-free beer. I'm going to have a gluten-free beer or two during our members call. So keep signing up. I'd love to get to 875 before our members call. And if you came late, once you sign up as a member, you will get a link to join our video call. You don't have to be on video. Jen and I will be on video. If you don't want to be on video, you can just mute your video. But 864. So we are 11 members away from 875. I think it could be done. Let's keep going. And before we get to, you know what? I think that's a good time to break. Before we get to more on Biden, because there's a lot more on Biden, I want to premiere our new promo video. So we've had a freelance cameraman and editor working for us for a couple weeks now, just, shooting and editing event by event. He's coming to Iowa with me in a few days. Jamal is his name, and he's been doing good work for us. So Jamal just put together this new promo video. Tell me what you think.
No disrespect to Bernie, that's not his card, that's not his strength.
That's actually not true, to be honest with you.
And when Democrats get in office, they were supposed to do good for us, right? Stop the wars, bring home our soldiers, all those things. And they really have been pretty lousy at that job.
No comment at all in regards to taking $1,000 from the person that put the Central Park 5 behind bars for all that time.
But I did read you just endorsed Joe Biden. So are you not concerned about the crime bill, which ushered in a whole new era of mass incarceration?
When you look at the crime bill, it had over 90% of everything of the people in the Senate that supported it.
So a lot of people supported the Iraq War, too. It was wrong then.
Department, you might have to wait a few hours, as you would anywhere in the world, I'm sure. But then you will be patched up and given the best care possible for free, without any questions asked, because you're a person.
Can you say that one more time?
Because you're a person. Yeah.
So anything on policy or substance, or just malarkey?
Oh, just malarkey. I mean, honestly, I haven't been that impressed, I'll be completely honest.
By Biden?
No, not really.
But you're wearing his shirt.
It was free.
Do you feel like that those are getting covered fairly on the news in like the MSNBCs, the CNNs, Fox Newses of the world?
Absolutely not.
Man, we getting disrespected and killed off like cattle, and they ain't really talking about it.
I know you're a true blue Joe Biden supporter, but there's video proof, and I can show it to you when we're finished shooting this. He is pro-cutting Social Security.
It's nice to have a bill, but if you don't know what your 4-year transition plan is that's in that bill, then what are you doing?
But couldn't the opposite be said? I hear what you're saying, but what is a plan worth if you don't have an actual movement to get it done?
Kudos to Jamal for working on that video for us. And you want to know something? We have so much footage. I mean, we've been between Marcus, myself, my trip to South Bend. Marcus has been in Iowa. I'm going to New Hampshire. I'm going to Iowa in a few days, and then I'm going to New Hampshire. It's hard to fit it into like 2 minutes, but we're really proud. We thank you guys, because honestly, you all are why we're able to do this. I mean, if you're a new viewer, because we do have some new viewers as our subscriber base has gone up, we have no funding from banks. We have no funding from Democratic Party donors, Republican Party donors, fossil fuckers, big pharma, big real estate, Silicon Valley. We don't have their money. We don't want their money. We are doing this the very, very hard way. You could ask my girlfriend. You could ask Jen, because I've been telling them I'm a little burnt out. We are growing through you, our viewers, at $5 to $10 a month. We have $5 a month plan, $10 a month plan, $179 annually. So we really, really, really appreciate it. We can't do this without you. An average trip costs us between $2,000 and $3,000 between cameraman, myself, hotels, flights, rent-a-cars, food. It ain't cheap to do this, and that's why most outlets do not do it. And not just corporate outlets don't do this kind of reporting. There are very few independent outlets that do this kind of reporting. So we have a very simple position. We have a very simple proposition for you. You fund us, we will go. You fund us, we will go, because we've already gone. Sorry if we're a broken record. If you've seen the map 10 times, 20 times, you're seeing it again. This is where we've been able to go with very little funding. So if we can get our membership growing at the pace it's growing right now, which is a lot faster, we will be able not only to travel more, but to hire more reporters, get Jen out into the field more, get people out into the field, advertise more, and most importantly, break important stories that matter. to people. So great video by Jamal. Great reporting by Marcus, who was featured in the video. Thank you to everybody making this reporting possible. And real quick, got another member. Welcome, new Status Coup member, John. Woohoo! So we are now at 865 Status Coup members. That would mean we are 10 members away from 875 members. Boy, would it be great to have 875 members before we start our members call at 7:30 Eastern tonight. I feel it. I feel the momentum. Keep it going. Let me make sure I don't miss any super chats. PJ Coin, 12 euros. Put it in the swear jar. We will. Thank you. Coder at the gate. Great. $5. Thank you. All right, I think I read those. Oh, we just got another one. Marcos, new Status Coup member. Marcos, wow. We are now at 866 Status Coup members. 9 members away. Holy cow, 9 members away from 875. I could feel it. I feel the momentum. Thank you. So, let's keep going. So, I want to also get into this. Well, let's keep going with Biden, actually. So, we saw Biden, and I'm going to play it one more time because some of you couldn't hear it the first time, which was my mistake. So, here we go. Joe Biden apparently doesn't know you're supposed to convince people to vote for you. Let's take a look.
I'm going to support you if you win the nominations. We got to get rid of Trump. But what are we going to do about climate change? Now, you say you're against pipelines, but then you want to replace these gas lines. That's not going to work. We got to stop building and replacing pipelines. You got to go vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much, sir. We're going to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to vote you in the general if you treat me
right.
right.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm not.
Well, can I have a
Look,
picture?
you're asking a picture of me. You're coming up and telling me you don't support me.
No.
My plan. Yeah, you did. You said you
I said I would support you in the general.
In the general. I'm looking for a primary.
We're happy to get a number.
That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Just because we're trying to get.
You believe that Bernie can do something by 2030?
I'm actually supporting Trump's tire.
Thompson, well, that's good. He's the guy that did more
Thanks so
coal
much, sir. We
mines.
have a long line right here.
We got a long line than the entire country did.
Okay.
All right, we're happy to get
You got the right guy.
Can we get a picture?
Gotta love it. After Joe Biden touches this guy inappropriately, after Joe Biden basically says, fuck you if you're not going to vote for me. Can I get a picture? I love that guy anyway. Welcome, new Status Coup member. We just got another one. Alex, new Status Coup member. Alex, we are now at 867 Status Coup members. Oh, my Lord. I feel it. Keep it coming. We are 7 away from 875 members, which would be wonderful before our live stream. So, what's incredible about this, and by the way, this is free advice. I don't work with the Bernie Sanders campaign, but free advice if anybody's watching. You know what really strikes me about Joe Biden? And it's very easy to do an ad like this. We are America. We are the United States of America. There ain't a damn good thing we can't do if we want to. But we can't get to, zero emissions by 2030. But we can't do universal health care. But we can't. I mean, the contradiction of Joe Biden, the contradiction, the lie of the Biden campaign is we're going to restore the soul of the nation. There's not a damn thing we can't do without each other. Yet, all you do is say what we can't do. There are many scientists on the record supporting Bernie Sanders saying, oh yeah, we could get to zero emissions by 2030. There's plenty of healthcare experts that say, yeah, slam dunk, we could have Medicare for all, and it could be cheaper than Joe Biden's, vision of healthcare, and Mayor Pete's vision of healthcare, which is not actually healthcare, it's just bending over for big pharma and big health insurance industries. Welcome, new Status Coup member, Peg. Holy cow! On fire! Holy cow! We are now at 868 Status Coup members. Holy cow, this is exciting. So exciting. We are now at 868. Wait a minute. Yeah, 868 Status Coup members. That would be 7 away. 7 away from hitting 875. Let's keep it coming. Keep signing up. We appreciate it. It's going to help us. This is really, really providing an extra gear of funding as I head to Iowa. I'll be heading to Iowa in a few days to cover the caucus. I will also be headed to New Hampshire after. So we will be covering the campaign as much as you fund us. And looking at how the polls are right now, I might need to go to South Carolina. I might need to go to some Super Tuesday states, but I can't do it unless we're funded. So keep it coming. Keep signing up. statuscoup.com/join. And for all of you who are signing up now, definitely. If you do not get a link, you should get a link. If you don't get a link before 7:30 to join our video call tonight, it's our members call. Email info@statuscoup.com. That's info@statuscoup.com to get the link to join us. So, Joe Biden, why I think that Mike Bloomberg, what the Democratic Party is starting to plan, is for Michael Bloomberg to be like, the billionaire's Paul Revere, for Michael Bloomberg to be like, the establishment's Batman. I can't wait for the graphics we're going to put together. Colin, if you're watching, we definitely need Michael Bloomberg as Batman, Superman, with just dollars all over him. It would be wonderful. So, and I can't blame them because Joe Biden is just, he's a terrible politician. Maybe he used to be a good politician, but he's not a good politician now. And I think that as a result of Joe Biden being a bad politician, you collectively have the corporate media who forever, all they do is hype up how important Iowa is. They see that Joe Biden is such damaged goods that now you see pieces from the Washington Post. Iowa's looking less and less like that clarifying moment Democrats had hoped for. So they're playing down the importance of the Iowa caucus now. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't. Also, another reason that it's looking like Bloomberg might be the establishment's, final hope is because Joe Biden's campaign is basically waving the white flag in New Hampshire. This is from Politico. Why Biden scaled back in New Hampshire. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but Joe Biden has said he doesn't need to win the first presidential primary state in the nation, and he's campaigning like it. Biden has been dark on New Hampshire television since the new year. He has a smaller presence on the ground compared with his rivals, barely takes questions from voters, and he's trailing in the polls here. Biden's New Hampshire media buys, events, and overall footprint indicate it's the early state that's getting relatively short shrifts, so he can more effectively contest the other 3 states with nominating contests before Super Tuesday. So the thing about this is, there's never been in a Democratic Party, there's never been somebody who lost Iowa and New Hampshire. There's never been somebody. Excuse me, that's not true. Bill Clinton lost Iowa and New Hampshire and still became the nominee. So check me on that. It is very rare. It is very rare for somebody to become the Democratic nominee and lose if they lost Iowa and New Hampshire. The reason I think it would be nearly impossible in this case for Joe Biden if he lost Iowa and New Hampshire is because Nevada is before South Carolina. So not in many years, South Carolina came before Nevada. If Joe Biden loses Iowa and New Hampshire, I mean, Bernie Sanders, and if he loses and Bernie Sanders wins both of those states, which right now, if those primaries were held today, according to the polls, Bernie Sanders would win Iowa and New Hampshire. I don't think his volunteers should treat it that way. I don't think his campaign should treat it that way. I think they should mentally think they're 10 points down. You got to be hungry. It's like if you're winning in sports. You can't feel like you have already won it because then you underestimate the competition. You have to act like you're still down and be just as desperate. But if Bernie Sanders wins Iowa and New Hampshire, Bernie's already doing spectacularly well among Latinos. Nevada has a humongous Latino population. Bernie, if he wins Iowa and New Hampshire, he's going to have more momentum than we've ever seen in progressive politics heading into Nevada. And Joe Biden is not going to have momentum unless he comes in a very close second in both. If Bernie Sanders wins Iowa, New Hampshire, and then Nevada, there is no way in hell Joe Biden's going to be the nominee. He would have to win South Carolina by 30 to 40 points and then crush on Super Tuesday. But the problem is he's not going to crush on Super Tuesday because Michael Bloomberg is pulling away from his support. And Michael Bloomberg has poured in, I don't know what the number is now, but last I checked, he's poured in $240 million in Super Tuesday states in particular. So I think Joe Biden's campaign, I mean, I don't want to declare him politically dead prematurely, but if you're behind in all the Iowa polls, if your lead is shrinking nationally, some polls have showed Bernie Sanders tied or slightly behind you among black voters, then your whole case for being the Democratic nominee, which has not been based on policy, it's only been based on electability, your whole case is gone. Your whole case is gone if those things happen. And if I had to put money on it right now, it looks like he's not going to win Iowa or New Hampshire. And his campaign, and this is another thing about presidential politics you should know. Welcome new Status Coup member Emma. Holy cow! We are now at 869 Status Coup members. Holy cow. 6 members from 875. I would love, not that we're stopping at 875, but I would love to get 6 more members to join us on our members call, which is now an hour and a half away from, an hour and a half till now is our members call. So we look forward to all of our members joining. Please, please, please sign up. Let's get 6 more of you so we can get to 875, because I don't know about you, Jen. I don't want to prematurely or think too big here, because Joe Biden tells me big things aren't possible. But if we could get to like 875, close to 900 before I go to Iowa and New Hampshire, I think it's very possible through our reporting in the trenches in Iowa and New Hampshire that red goes up to 1,000. I really do think we could get to 1,000 through Iowa and New Hampshire, which would be a massive accomplishment for Status Coup to get to 1,000 members by, early in the primary. We're not even 2 years old. So to get to 1,000 paying members through our website, by the way, we're, let's not forget our patrons. We have 300 something patrons. So we're focusing on our website. But overall, if we get to 1,000 members on our website, plus our patrons, that is really, really good. And it's going to put us in a much better financial position. So keep on keeping on. So Joe Biden slipping along. He's pulling back in New Hampshire. Then, as The Intercept reported today, Bernie Sanders' campaign. Oh, what I was about to say, the reason that I think it's so important that he's basically waved a white flag in New Hampshire, all the campaigns, including Bernie Sanders, have their own internal polling. So the public numbers, the campaign might have numbers that are showing them doing even worse than the public numbers. This is why, to tell you the truth, I think Elizabeth Warren stabbed Bernie Sanders in the front. I think her campaign's internal polling was probably showing a dire situation, and she did the wrong thing as a result of that. She has a bunch of Hillary Clinton people in her campaign giving her very bad advice. It's still her fault. She did it. She stabbed them in the front with this ridiculous hearsay. But I think Elizabeth Warren's campaign, their internal polling numbers were probably worse than the public polling is. And I think Joe Biden, there is no reason Joe Biden would not be on the air in New Hampshire, would not have much of a ground game in New Hampshire, unless his polling in New Hampshire internally was showing he really doesn't have a chance to win in New Hampshire. So they're reallocating elsewhere. That's probably what's going on here. So then you have part of why he might be doing well. And if you were with me in the beginning of the live stream, part of why he's probably not even trying in New Hampshire anymore. Look at this New Hampshire poll just out today. Bernie at 28%, Biden at 13%. But if you look at the actual demographics, Bernie is winning over 45. 45 and older, Bernie is beating Biden by 2. If Bernie Sanders wins older voters in New Hampshire, if he wins older voters in Iowa, which I don't think he's going to, but if he even comes close, 45 and older in Iowa and New Hampshire, it's lights out. He's going to win both states because he's got a huge advantage in this demographic, 18 to 44 in both states. So if Bernie Sanders is competing and in this poll above Biden, 45 and older, good night. Biden doesn't have a chance in either. So the Intercepts report shows you probably why Biden is kind of waving the white flag in New Hampshire. He has been harmed politically by Bernie Sanders' campaign's attacks on Social Security. Voters over the age of 65 have long formed the bulk of Biden's support, while he has done poorly with voters under the age of 30 who lean towards Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Though Biden continues to be older voters' candidate of choice, the support is beginning to wane. The most recent Siena College New York Times survey of likely Iowa caucus goers found a 17-point swing away from Biden and towards Sanders among those ages 45 to 64. Wow, 17 points. Emerson's survey, meanwhile, found an 11-point swing among voters over 50. The new Fox News poll found a 10-point swing nationally to Sanders among voters over 45. And the Monmouth survey found a swing of 9 among voters over 50. WBUR in New Hampshire found a 5-point swing towards Sanders with voters over 50. A new poll in California by the LA Times and University of California, Berkeley, found Biden flat at 22% among those 65 and up, but Bernie jumped from 6 to 14 since December. Again, if Bernie Sanders, he doesn't have to win older voters. He doesn't have to win the older voters. But if Bernie Sanders is even competitive among 45 and older, I don't want to prematurely declare this contest over and him the Democratic nominee, because part of why I'm going to Iowa, they're going to try and rig it. They are going to try and rig it. That's why I want to be on the ground to monitor it, expose it, and all those things. But if he's competitive among older voters nationally and in the early states, there's nothing they could do. There's nothing they could do to stop him if he stays that competitive. So, I mean, it's bad news all around. And you have this gem. I don't know if it's going to hurt Biden anymore, but The Intercept also found this. Joe Biden supported, quote, exceptionally tough treatment for juvenile predators. So, his own Hillary Clinton super predators moment there. In a 1998 speech, then Senator Joe Biden called 100,000 juveniles who had been arrested for violent crimes in the U.S. predators who warrant exceptionally tough treatment. Biden, who spent decades championing tough-on-crime legislation that escalated mass incarceration, made the comments, which have not previously been reported, during an address to the National Association of Attorney General Conference in March 1998. Quote, there's about 100,000 of them, if you want to be rhetorically extreme about it, who are the predators. There are 100,000 real bad apples out there, 100,000 of the kids you read about in the front page of the newspaper every day. Well, you know, be interesting if African Americans in South Carolina hear that kind of language, don't you think? Very interesting. Thank you for the super chat. Reeve Barker, $5. Also, don't New Hampshire and other open primary states polls not include indies and crossover Rs? It varies. Some of them do. Some of them don't. So it's not universal. Welcome, new Status Coup member, David! Woo! We are now at 870 Status Coup members, 5 away from 875. I would love to get to 875 before our members call that's coming up in less than an hour and a half. Keep signing up. And by the way, folks, I just want to be clear. We understand, for those of you that don't even have an extra $5, we get it. If you can't financially support us, that's fine. We don't want to make your situation worse. You know, just watch, share, follow us at Status Coup on Twitter. Join our Instagram. We're trying to grow there too. That's Instagram.com/Status Coup. A lot of ways to support status quo if you're not in a position to do it financially. If you are in a position to do it financially, all I got to say is this. I've been around the block. I'm 33 years old, but I've been working in media since I was 18. So whatever that is, long time. I've worked for local media outlets. I've worked for national media outlets. I've worked for corporate outlets. I've worked for independent outlets. And now I work for myself with Jen, Colin, and Marcus, and whatever. I'll tell you what. What's incredible to me, and I think Jen would attest to this too, is how much you could honestly do if you just make the effort to show up. There is so much corruption in this country. There's so much injustice. There is so much corruption that is honestly just open out. Most corrupt people are very lazy about their corruption. They don't cover their tracks well. Why? Because they don't expect the media to investigate them. They don't expect anyone to go knocking on doors, which we have done in several communities so far. So we decided to launch a little bit differently than others. There are some outlets that are based predominantly on an advertising model. You know, they need to get a certain amount of clicks to meet their advertising quota and to get corporate sponsors. We didn't want to be reliant on that because honestly, you have to water down your product and you're just going to do a lot of clickbait bullshit. We also didn't want to go around begging rich Democratic or Republican Party donors to fund us because then we would just be like everybody else and be, presenting you fluffed up corporate talking points as news. And we don't want to do that either. So our model, which is a lot harder, it is extremely hard to grow this way. Jen and I are both working 7 days a week to grow it this way. But our model is primarily based on, I don't want to say we're the Bernie Sanders of media, is small dollar subscriptions. Bernie has some recurring subscriptions in addition to people who just donate whenever they feel like it. Our model is recurring membership. So you can become a monthly member at a small rate, $5 a month, or $10 a month. We also have $20 a month or $179 annually. And although that's not the only plan, we do have other plans. We want to do sponsorship deals with progressive-minded companies. If you're watching Ben & Jerry's, we are waiting. We love you. Patagonia is another one. Environmentally friendly companies. There's CBD companies out there. There's organic companies out there. There's so many possibilities of companies that are run the right way, that have values that align with us, that we're hoping we could potentially, partner with in some way that will bring in revenue to us and benefit them. But as the core of our model, it's you. Because, and Jen could tell you this, and by the way, we are trying to figure out a way to have her live on the show rather than me always talking about her, but you can't hear from her. So Colin's figuring out the Skype and going live. When you just have the money there from the viewers, it's very liberating. You could choose to go cover things in the field that might not be sexy, that might not get a gazillion clicks, but are more important than covering Trump 24/7 or Russia. When you're funded by the people, you actually can do for the people rather than doing for whoever your large investors are, whichever massive plutocrat is funding you, or, oh God, we gotta get X amount of clicks or subscriber growth this month, or we're not going to meet our advertising quota, and then we're going to have to lay people off. So that's who we are. That's how we're trying to grow. It's not easy. It's not easy to grow from the ground up. It's also not easy when you're being suppressed on YouTube, which is a whole other story. Jen and I will talk about that in our members call tonight. We will talk about that in our members call tonight because it just gets more and more absurd every day we deal with YouTube. Now we're getting denied the ability to buy ads citing election advertising in the European Union. We are being denied ads. We're trying to buy ads, and we're being denied, telling us we are trying to advertise in the EU. We are not trying to advertise in the EU. But I digress. Welcome, new member, Corey! 871 Status Coup members. Holy cow, we're 4 away. I said at the beginning of the show, can we get to 875? We're 4 away. Unbelievable. Jen, how excited are you in the super chat? All right. So, I don't know, I just went on a massive tangent. But I think Joe Biden's in a lot of trouble. Joe Biden's in a lot of trouble. Let's leave it at that. And I will keep on keeping on. I will keep on showing you. There's one more thing. There's one more thing I want to go over. So, and we also have a video to show you from Jen. Thank you, Tom, $24.99 in the super chat. Appreciate it. So, what's amazing to me, and this is totally predictable. We know this is going to happen. But the Jonathan Chait, the corporate Democratic establishment, MSNBC, all of them, their go-to move against Bernie, if the sexism is not working, which it hasn't worked yet, if Bernie bros are mean, if that's not working to knock him down, they're then going to move to, he's a socialist, right? So I fully admit the poll I'm about to show you is from 2018. I did not have time to look for more recent polls, but this poll from 2018 actually shows you year by year trends, so it's very instructive. I know these people don't understand it because Jonathan Chait, David Weigel, Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski, Chris Hardball Matthews, all these people are still living in the Cold War, but capitalism's not that popular anymore. Nancy Pelosi should know that too. We're capitalists, she said. Here's a poll, 2018, Gallup. Pretty reputable, right? Well, Gallup, sorry, let me show you the whole thing. Woo. Gallup, 2010. 53% of people supported capitalism, 53% supported socialism. Then you got 2012, 55%. So capitalism went up in 2012. Socialism was flat in 2012. 2016, capitalism still at 56. Socialism, 58. In 2016, socialism, according to Gallup, became more popular than capitalism. Did something happen in 2016? Did something happen in 2016 that would make socialism more popular and capitalism less popular? I'm trying to think. It's kind of far away. Was there a candidate that ran in 2016 that brought in a lot of young people, explained what socialism actually is? Trying to remember. Bernie Sanders in 2016. And then Bernie Sanders, who did not stop campaigning, striking with Nissan workers, Walmart workers, Disney, Amazon. 2018, capitalism falls 9 points, 47%. Socialism, 57%. So this was 2018. This is just one poll. In 2018, socialism was 10 points more popular than capitalism. Of course, it's one poll. I didn't read the poll, how they framed the language, whatever. But overall, socialism is not as scary as Chris Matthews and Jonathan Chait and all these people actually think it is to most Americans. It's really not. Wait, 69, 70, 71, 72. Oh, we're at 872 status quo members right now. So 3 members away. 3 members away from getting to our goal for today, which was 875 members. Keep signing up. Statusquo.com/join. We are an hour and 10 minutes away from our monthly video call. I can't wait. So much excitement with all these new members. Holy cow, I can't even contain myself. So, Jen and I, when we get the time, if we get the time, are going to be looking at more polls because if their go-to is going to be scaring the living hell out of people about socialism, well, the problem is when Bernie Sanders or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Ro Khanna or any of these people, Nina Turner, Pramila Jayapal, when they talk about the issues to most Americans, including older Americans, it doesn't sound scary. Now, some more centrist to right-wing Democrats might say, okay, it's unrealistic. But if you are trying to scare people, it doesn't sound scary to provide health care as a human right. That's not something that's going to scare people. It doesn't sound scary to, provide education. It just doesn't scare people. It scares the oligarchy. It scares the bourgeoisie. But they're going to have to try a new trick because their trick is not working. Their trick is not working. So, I don't know. I think that it's going to be trying times for the Democratic Party establishment. And I got news for you folks. If Michael Bloomberg is your knight in shining armor, if this is the man that's going to stop Bernie Sanders, then you better start finding some more banks in the Cayman Islands to send your money to. Because I got news for you. Michael Bloomberg is not going to stop Bernie Sanders. He's got the charisma of my left toe. He's got a god-awful record in New York City. You think less black people came out for Hillary Clinton in 2016? Oh my God. You just wait to see how many less black people, how many fewer black Americans come out for Michael Bloomberg if he was the nominee. Ricky Wallace, don't worry. I'm getting to your super chat. I'm trying to balance a lot of things here. I got to read some super chats, I know. So, let me read some super chats. Then I want to show another great in the field report we have, this time from Jen. Ricky Wallace just sent me a super chat with a video, so I'm going to play it. Whoa! Another new member. Welcome, Talisha. 873 Status Coup members. We are two away from hitting that 875 mark before our call. Jen, maybe I put it too low. Maybe I should have set it for 880. I mean, at this point, holy cow. Welcome. New member. So excited to have you guys. This is really, really exciting. Welcome, Talisha. And did we get another one? No. We just got Talisha. Okay. So let's play this video that Ricky just sent me. I guess it's a new Bernie Sanders ad. Strive.
Things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
President Kennedy knew that settling for half measures wasn't good enough. So when candidates say we can't guarantee health care for all, make college affordable for all, combat climate change, or create a world at peace, remember, America is best when we strive to do big things, even when it's hard. I'm Bernie Sanders, and I approve this message.
So that was not a new video. That was, I think, 2 weeks ago from Bernie, but good. Is my mic working? Yeah. That was a recent video from Bernie Sanders. I think you're going to also see his campaign putting out more FDR stuff because there are a lot of older Americans that actually, when they have good feelings when they equate with FDR, which I actually think in 2016, whatever, doesn't matter now, but would have been smart of Bernie to adopt and evoke FDR more in 2016. But I think he'll do it more in the final weeks and months of this campaign. So, status coup, we're doing so much. We're reporting in Iowa, reporting in New Hampshire. We've reported all over the country. But Jen recently went to, I don't know how she does it, the March for Life the March for Life rally in D.C. To interview, these wonderful pro-life Trump fanatics. And I don't know if I could have held a straight face. She somehow did. And we've played a few of the interviews. I want to play another one, which I think is really good. So here is Jen with a Trump supporter who apparently is in a little denial that America kills millions of people across the world. Just for an update, we are two members away from hitting 875, and we are now just a little over an hour to go till our members call. Let's see Jen's reporting from DC's March for Life rally.
This is Jen, and who do I have here?
This is Mike.
Hi, Mike, and you're here today at the March for Life, pro-life march and rally. Did you attend the rally earlier?
Yes, but I couldn't see quite as much as I had hoped. It was very crowded.
What did you think of what President Trump said?
Could only hear bits and pieces. There were so many people. It was very far away, but really appreciated him being here today and supporting this. He genuinely, I believe, is very concerned about this, and we appreciate that support.
What would you say to people who question his past record on abortion? There are a lot of signs here today saying Trump is the most pro-life president, but in the past he's been pro-choice. What are your thoughts on that?
I think there's forgiveness for all, and we can learn, and particularly as we get older, perhaps maybe we kind of realign some of our priorities. But from his actions, what I see, it doesn't mean near as much what's maybe happened in the past. We can all improve. We're all sinners, and I appreciate what he's doing.
A lot of people were surprised that he actually attended the event in person. He's the first president to do so. And this comes on the heels of one of the sponsoring groups of today, the Susan B. Anthony organization, saying that they are going to use a, quote, grassroots campaign of $52 million to support Trump for president in 2020. And then a couple days later, he announces that he's attending here. Do you think that money had any influence on his decision to attend?
I don't think so at all. I don't believe so. I think that a lot of folks that support life and are very concerned about what's happening, particularly in some Congresses and some states, that they really appreciate the strong support. And so, yeah, hey, people are going to be making contributions. They're going to be making donations. I don't see that as an issue at all.
And what do you think about, I don't know if you saw at the start of the march, but Bill Barr was up waving at people, blowing kisses and waving there. What do you think about Trump's support overall of the pro-life mission?
I think it's tremendous. You said Trump, but you mentioned Barr.
Yeah, so Barr was waving at the start of the march from the top of a building.
Okay. Personally, I believe that if you're trying to imply that the kind of separation of church and state and, having individuals that are in government that are supporting the basically the ability for folks to support the mission and religion and faiths of all kinds that we have in the country, it's not necessarily sanctioned by government, but they are supporting. And I think that the values and what the ethics of our religious practices and our faith, our Judeo-Christian, our other communities, that is what makes us strong. And we need those values, and we need that education to understand where we've been to realize where we're going.
Would you consider yourself part of the evangelical community or the Christian community?
I'm definitely part of the Christian community. I'm a Catholic. I belong to the Knights of Columbus. I'm pretty new to that, but I'm very, very impressed. And I think that the other side, if you will, has kind of pushed this and brought it forth even more. It's the right thing. I mean, we are not in a position to judge and take a life, and that's not our place. So anyway, I'm very encouraged by the support and by this amazing turnout today.
So a lot of the pushback against the pro-life movement is that it's hypocritical in the way that, you know, it's talking about supporting or protecting the sanctity of life, yet we as a country are bombing so many black and brown babies. We are killing people, civilians all over the place. We're running regime change wars and operations. Guys, excuse me.
Actually, I don't agree with the premise that you're mentioning there. We are there to support other countries. We're not randomly taking people's lives. I don't advocate the death penalty. I think that, you know, life is precious, and we need to support that.
But the fact is that we are running wars. We do kill civilians. So is that issue as important as this?
True. That's not true. Do civilians, are they killed? Yes, they are sometimes. But that's not, compared to other historic or other countries, I don't think you're going to find any other country that is strong as the United States in trying to minimize collateral damage and to do the right thing.
I think that the facts just don't bear that out with our operations in the Middle East.
I was in the Middle East. I served in the Middle East. So I disagree with you completely on that.
Well, even under Obama, I mean, up until this point, Obama had the most drone strike operations, civilian deaths, casualties. Now Trump has really ramped that up. Those are just...
I think you're misconstruing that kind of information because it is very limited in terms of what they do overall. Okay, and they're not just randomly taking out civilians. I think you're mischaracterizing that.
Well, we have the video collateral damage that was leaked by Chelsea Manning, who is now again in jail.
Yeah, there are things that happen, but we are not out there to cause that. So I just disagree with the premise that you're making.
So you would consider Donald Trump to be a peaceful president, is that true?
Very peaceful? No, well, yes, I think he's peaceful, but more importantly, I think he's taking a stand, and he's not going to let other countries or other circumstances bully or intimidate the United States as they've been in the past. I think he's going to stand up for what he believes is in the best interest of the United States, and I think it's already proven itself. There are countries in this world that only understand force and power, and there are times that has to be dealt with in that fashion. But we're basically looking to support and enhance other people, other countries, and I think that's very critical. And I do believe that President Trump and his team are working toward that end.
Last question. If there's a Democrat that has a chance of beating Donald Trump, who do you think that is?
I don't really have I don't think they really know at this point. I don't believe that they have anyone that could beat Donald Trump. But, we may not even know who the nominee is at this point. It may not be somebody who's currently running.
Someone who's not currently running? What makes you say that?
Well, it depends on the convention. If there's not a unanimous vote, it could end up that they may find someone else.
So Bernie Sanders is surging, especially among young people, and he's actually, among many, considered to be the front runner right now. If you had to choose between Biden and Bernie, who do you think has the best chance of beating Trump?
I would say Biden. If you're going to take an avowed socialist or someone who supports countries and socialist regimes that have accounted for more people dying in this world over history, then I think that, there's a lot of misinformation, and I think a lot of individuals don't know their history, and they need to look at it.
Well, Bernie, just to correct the fact, is a democratic socialist, not in line with...
That is correct.
Okay, yeah, so any last thoughts you want to leave me with here?
Nope, I wish you well. I think this has been a tremendous event today, and, it's all about life and preserving life.
Including in wars or no?
You're, again, mixing things that don't equate. We're about preserving life, whether it's minimizing war, avoiding war, but sometimes you do have to take a stand. And so, at any rate, but I appreciate your taking the time.
Thanks so much.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you. Oh, God. Kudos to Jen. Kudos to Jen. That was soldiering on, if I've ever heard it. Very, very good work. It's not just the establishment Democrats that live in their own little bubble. It's a lot of people wearing that hat all around America. So, America doesn't kill anyone around the world. Sure. Whatever you say. But I think Jen did a very good job pushing back, kindly but forcefully. And that's why we got to get Jen out in the field more. By the way, we just got another new sign up. So welcome Haley, new Status Coup member. Brings us to 874 Status Coup members. So one away from 875. We're also less than an hour till our members call. So excited about that. Sign up. $5 a month could get you a Status Coup membership and get you onto our members call. And we are seeing a couple of you emailing us for the link. So if you're not getting the link to the video call tonight, email us info@statuscoup.com. That's info@statuscoup.com. And we will send you the link if you're not getting it. You should get the video link. Sometimes there's kinks, but you should get it as soon as you sign up as a member. So wonderful, wonderful reporting from Jen. And we're trying to get Jen out more into the field. That's one of the reasons we're trying to grow our membership, because Jen, for those of you that don't know the behind the scenes, is doing a lot of actually all of the marketing for Status Coup. So she's very good at it, but we want to be able to hire somebody else to take a lot of that load off of Jen so we can move her over more towards in the field reporting, written articles, those kinds of things. Jen actually lives close to D.C., so having Jen right very close to all the events that go on in D.C., whether it's Democratic Party establishment, crazy Trump people, we got to get Jen out there more, but we also need to have more funding to get some more help on the marketing, social media, email marketing end of things. So definitely keep signing up. 874 members, one away. I think we could do it. One away. Thank you, Jim Garrison. $10. Here comes my 19th nervous meltdown. Don't have a nervous meltdown. Things are good right now, Jim. Thanks for the $10. Did I miss any other super chats? Let's see. Larry the Truth, $2. I read your super chat. Larry the Truth, $2. New MLK and Bernie ad is powerful by Matt O. All right, I'll have to check that out. Weiss, $5. It's scary for the elite class because they don't get to be grotesquely wealthy. Grotesquely wealthy. I agree. Tom, $24.99. Thank you. Appreciate the support. So, folks, I'm going to take a little Q&A until we get... Oh, Old Gringo, $2 in the super chat. Fighting for peace is like effing your virginity. Thank you for that super chat and the giggle. I'm going to take some questions and comments until we get one more member. How about that? I want to get to 875. So we are a little over a half hour. No, we're about 40 minutes till our members call. So I'm going to just kind of improvise until we get one more member. Boy, do I have to shave before I go to Iowa. Let's see. That will be a truly interesting presidential race. Jordan probably has to pee, save his bladder, sign up. I agree, Anat. Thank you for the PSA. I do have to pee. Johanna, LOL. David, Biden is a schmendrick. Love it. Lars, grotesquely wealthy makes Republicans moist. Bernie versus Trump, LOL. Hi, Jordan. I could not scroll through the messages to look. Do you have any info on the PG County, Maryland cop who shot a handcuffed man in a police car 7 times? They do have the officer in custody. First I'm hearing about it. Email us info@statuscoup.com. I have not seen that story, but I definitely would like to. Literally just vibing until we get 875 members. Exactly what I'm doing. Exactly. And holding in a PP. So if somebody could help me out, statuscoup.com/join. Grow that beard out, Jordan. Old gringo, for you I shall. TW Piers 499. Hey, Jordan, could you play the Times Are a Changing ad from Bernie? What am I, a jukebox here? Jen, if you could find me that ad, I'll play it for my friend. Times are changing. To donate to Bernie, we need the Iowa win. DJ Sheridan. Jordan, just sent you a link to MLK Bernie ad. Thank you. Manic Cure, $5 in the super chat. How much of a role do you think superdelegates will play in this primary, and thoughts about the platform committee? Thoughts about the platform committee? Why do you need my thoughts? Go check out my interview with Nina Turner. She just dropped a scorching, fire-breathing. My thoughts? I think that if Bernie Sanders does not win on the first ballot, I think they're going to try to screw him. But, I have to ask myself, do I have any naivete left in me as far as the Democratic Party? So there's two sides of that coin. If Bernie has the most pledged delegates but does not have enough to clinch it on the first ballot. So on one coin is just the unending greed of the Democratic Party elites, which are basically Wall Street, fossil fuel industry, big pharma, real estate, Silicon Valley. I mean, you know who. But I also don't think these people are stupid. I don't think they are suicidal politically. So they know if they try to screw Bernie Sanders, if he has the most pledged delegates, that will be the end of the Democratic Party. When I say that, I mean young people will not come out and vote for whoever they give the nomination to. They will not. And if they did that, I would personally Bernie or bust. I would not vote for whoever the Democratic Party nominee is if they tried to screw Bernie Sanders, if he had the most pledged delegates. I am open personally to voting for someone that is not Bernie if it's a fair process. But if they try to screw him, fuck no. I will fight Trump to the death, but I will not reward the Democratic Party if they rig democracy once again. No way, no how. But I can't imagine they're so suicidal to have totally pushed away the younger generation for at least 20 to 30 years. If you screw Bernie now with all this young support he has, and older support too, he's got a lot of older support too, they are not going to come out and vote for you, not just in the presidential, on the congressional level, the governors. I mean, that's a bridge too far if you do that. It's one thing if, Bernie is the most pledged delegates, but it's by like 5 delegates, then they could make the argument. But if he has the most pledged delegates by a considerable amount and they try to screw him, they are signing the death warrant, not just for this election, because they would be reelecting Donald Trump, but for years to come. So they might try to do it, but I think there would be enough people in the Democratic Party that are smart enough not to do that. But I've been wrong before, so we'll see. Welcome, new Status Coup member Cameron. 875. 875 Status Coup members. We met our goal for today. That doesn't mean if you're not a member yet, feel free to sign up. But I do need to go to the bathroom. I do need to take a little break before our members call, which is now just 45 minutes away. Thank you, everybody who signed up to join our members call. We'll see you in 45 minutes. Here's what you do. You should get a link to join our call. If you're not seeing a link in your email, then email us at info@statuscoup.com. That's info@statuscoup.com. And we will get you a link. When I say we, it will be Jen. I don't want to pretend to actually do that. It's Jen having to deal with all this madness. So kudos to Jen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me just read the last couple super chats. Rock Lee, what's our next move after hashtag Dem exit if he's screwed? Well, let's not go there yet, Rock Lee. God bless you for the $1.99, but let's win Iowa, win New Hampshire, and then we'll go from there. Let's not make moves yet. Ricky Perez Jr., $2. Times are a changing video +1. Hashtag Bernie or bust. All right, where is the times are changing? I got the Martin Luther King video. Is that what you're talking about?
Socialism. But as one of the great leaders in American history, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "Call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. But there must be a better distribution of wealth within this country for all of God's children."
The poor, black and white, are still perishing on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity.
There is something immoral about 3 families in America owning more wealth than the bottom half of America.
So I hate to interrupt the legendary Martin Luther King, but it's 5 minutes, that video, so there's the link to those who want to watch it. I can't play the full video right now, because if I do play the full video, I might pee my pants while I'm live, which I guess could get us clicks. If I pee right here, would that get us clicks? Maybe new members? So let me read the final super chats. Manic Cure. How much of a role do you think the superdelegates will play? I did answer that. TW Piers, $4.99. Hi, Jordan. Can you play the times they were changing ad from Bernie? Just played some of it, but unfortunately I don't have 5 minutes or my bladder is going to explode. Old Gringo, $2. Fighting for peace is like fucking for virginity. Jim Garrison, $10. Here comes my 19th nervous meltdown. All right, I read these ones. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, folks, listen. I got to be fresh for the members call in 45 minutes. So, you know the drill. For those of you that want to get in, if you haven't signed up, statuscoup.com/join. Sign up as a member before 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. You will get a link to join our members call. If you're not seeing the link, if you've already signed up as a member or you've been a member, if you don't see the link, email us at info@statuscoup.com and we will send it to you. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful live stream. Thank you, Jen, for her reporting, and I will see you in a little bit in the members call. Peace.